Hey guys, Silverlord here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be continuing our looks at the biker mice from Mars with Big Bad Moto. And I mean that in every extent of the word because this is one big SOB. Brought to us by the fine folks over at Nacel. I'm gonna have to say that Moto here is my new favorite. Aesthetically, he looks freaking cool. He's got the robot arm, he's got the eye patch, he's big and jacked. He looks like he's got some mud stomper boots there with the big shin guards. I love this character design from an aesthetic standpoint. It looks really freaking cool. Stupid 90s too. Like, he's got the robot arm, he's got the eye patch, he's got the armored chest with like just yoked out muscles. He's screaming 90s. Screaming 90s. So, with that being said, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Moto has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with a pair of fisticuffs, because of course a big bad bruiser like this is going to throw down the pit, man. Come on. He probably uses his fists more than he does weapons. He also has a pair of relaxed or open hands, as well as an alternate head. Now I will say, the head on him, he's got a double piercing. That's hilarious, I just noticed that. But the head on him is a little loose. It stays on, but it doesn't take much to pop it off. This one is a little bit more ticked off, which, I don't know, if you were a giant anthropomorphic mouse with an eye patch and a robot arm, you'd probably be a little ticked off too, I would assume. But with a double piercing. But this head stays on just fine. The head I haven't tried yet is his helmeted head. And as I mentioned in the throttle video, be careful when heating these because these visors are acrylic. And you can pop them out. It's just a little tricky to get them back in. So I kind of just leave them in there. The throttle one wasn't hard to pop out. But this one was. I have popped it out once. One of the tabs isn't busted, but it did have some flashing on it. I had to kind of chip that off with my nail carefully before I put it back in so it would go back in. But yeah, I really like this big bulky helmet for him, even though it doesn't have the little spiky dads on the top like Throttle's did. Seems like a missed opportunity. You'd think this guy would have that, but nope, he's got a special helmet all to his own. And I will say the Throttle helmeted head was a little tough to get on. I'm hoping his isn't, but probably will be. Then again, I am sometimes a scrawny weakling, so it is what it is. As far as weaponry goes, he comes with this little pistol, as well as this giant blaster, which is a little loose in his hand, I'm not going to lie. It's specifically made for the robot hand, but you could put it in the other hand, it's better grip. However, it was pointed out to me that he's supposed to have like a little forearm rocket that kind of pops out. Would have been nice to get that, but I kind of understand why he doesn't have it. And then of course he comes with a wiener, because giant anthropomorphic mice from Mars like wieners, apparently. So do some friends of mine who will remain unnamed for the sake of not wanting to publicly shame them in this video. So, as far as Moto goes, I think he's a little better than Throttle, quality-wise. His torso is tighter. It's still not the best. I think they need to put some notches in the ball pegs, and that will help keep things nice and solid, but his is a little better. His construction is a little different, because this arm, while it still has the disc hinge shoulder that will go in and out, forward and back, and whatnot, his bicep is literally just pegged on to the shoulder, so it's not a cap. That said, it's a little gummy, but it's not too bad. Personally, I might put a little lubricant in there, but it's not like twisting bloody murder like a Marvel Legends would. He also has a single jointed elbow in lieu of his robot arm, so there's that. But other than that, his articulation is the same as Throttle, so his head will move around. Again, this one is really easy to pop off. in comparison to the other ones, although I haven't tried the helmeted head, but if it's anything like Throttle's, it's going to be tight. But I don't know if this is a common issue or if it's just mine. Because not for nothing, you can really wedge this thing down on the neck, but I did kind of try to fix it. I heated it up a little bit, and I actually flipped the ball peg around because it fits a little tighter this way. So maybe that's all that was wrong with it, but either way, it still kind of just pops off. Shoulders, of course, will go out, back down, forward and back. Bicep swivel, double elbow, ball hinge wrist on both sides, which is nice. His forearm feels the same as Throttle's, but I kind of don't think it is. Diaphragm, of course, can lean back forward this far and back, not a lot. Tilt side to side and rotation. He does have a waist twist. He does have a floaty belt. Separate floaty piece, but not going to get a ton out of that. Hips will kick out, back down, forward and back. He's got a thigh cut. Double knee. Not the tightest things ever, again. Boot cut, nice and tight there, though. He does have a hinge in the foot. Not the tightest ankles on him either, which he's the big dude, so maybe that's why. He does also have a rocker, and again, no peg holes. But I don't have trouble standing him, despite the knees and the feet being a little iffy on him. I might just put some soap in that. I don't know. Probably not. But at any rate, his tail is a ball peg, just like before. It seems to get more range than Throttle's. And for whatever reason, it's facing a different direction than Throttle's. So I really wish they gave these bendy wire. I think that would have been a little better. But for the price these guys retailed for, which was like 30 bucks, I think there is enough here. I don't think they really needed to do much more other than clean up the finish a little bit. There is some mold degradation and whatnot here and there. And while I know that these are quote-unquote mass-produced, I don't think they're as mass-produced as like a Spider-Man or an Iron Man or a Batman or whatever. At least not Marvel figures. I mean, I don't know what Todd Father's doing with that DC license, why everything sells out in 5 minutes. It's getting old. But at any rate, with all that being said, I think it is time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is Big Bad Moto, my new favorite of the group, alongside his, again, brothers, teammates. I'm not 100% sure of the relation amidst these three characters, but we got little teeny tiny Vinny and medium-sized Throttle, which sounds like a sex maneuver, so we're going to move on from that. And as I mentioned in the Throttle review from yesterday, I like the fact that these guys are different sizes. Makes them unique, makes them more interesting. However, I'm sure it costs Nacel a lot of money to tool all these, so, you know, props to them for willing to eat some of the profit, unlike some companies out there. Hasbro. So, getting these two out of here. Bring in our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith. Wait, I sense another sneeze coming on. 2%. We also got the infamous 11 Spawn, and this is the one I'm most curious about. I guess he's about neck and neck with Spawn too, or eye to eye, literally, because he's only got one eye. Heyo! But I guess that means Throttle is probably a little shorter than good old Al Simmons here, but I digress. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and while I may have thought that good old Throttle was my favorite of the Biker Mice in the past, because he was voiced by Rob Paulsen, and Rob Paulsen is awesome, I think my new favorite Biker Mouse, whatever, has to be good old Moto here. Based off aesthetic alone, he's big, he's jacked, he's got a robot arm, he's got a freaking eye patch, and I think he might have the coolest motorcycle of the three. We'll find out eventually if that's the case or not, but I really like this figure, and, you know, I haven't done this video yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if he lands a spot on my top 13 action figures of 2024 whenever I decide to do that. We're literally playing catch-up in August, people. It's the Overlord Productions way. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.